Okay, Mike Masato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental. I'm the Dental Road Warrior, returning for episode 41 in the series. I wanted to start using this time now and again to give out some words of wisdom. I call these my distinctions that I teach in my program. Just some insights to use and take a look at in your life and in practice to help you succeed and overcome challenges in your practice. And most of this game, and I think I've said this before, is mental. It's a mental challenge, a mental battle to win the game of dentistry every single day you go to work. All right. So what I want to do is kind of share some things, and I'll do a series of these ongoingly here and there. I'll filter them in to really look at some key quotes. There's a lot of wisdom in some quotes from some great thinkers that not just to admire and say, wow, that really sounds great, but how do you really apply? And how do these really apply to you? To use not just as a quote to hang on a wall, but also to get an action about. One of my favorite quotes that I want to start off with for this installment is on persistence by Calvin Coolidge, and it goes something like this: nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. And education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. And the word omnipotent means, all powerful, able to do anything, and it's almost like a deific in the way it's saying, like a power of like a godlike power and ability. And this is the kind of thing that a lot of us lack on a day-to-day basis. We get resistance. Things happen in practice or in life, and basically we don't have the persistence to continue to forge ahead and succeed. It happens every day. Big things happen. I'll give you an example. What about when the economy crashed in 2007, 2008? I got practices today that I'm meeting with, and doctors are telling me they're still down. They still haven't recovered from something that happened how many years ago? 10 years ago? Look, it was a bad time. And I can tell you, give you an example from a personal perspective, from my own business. I had to change my entire company model back in 2007, 2008. What happened was all of a sudden people weren't signing up for the program. Why? It wasn't because it wasn't a good program. His doctors didn't want to shut their offices. They didn't want to leave the practice. They said, we need you to be here. We can't do this remotely anymore. Seminars aren't enough. We need some hands-on. We didn't want to pay our staff to travel. We can't afford it. We took a hit in our revenue. So what was I going to do? Just say, okay, well, that's it. I'm going to take a hit and go down and just go into a fetal position here and take it like everyone else was. No. So I had to persevere. And this is also around the same time when, I had financing for my clients, kind of like Care Credit you have for your dental patients. I had financing in place from a very large bank, which I will not repeat on this video. But as you know, when the banking industry crashed, guess what happened? They went out to a lot of their people, the people they were working with, vendors like myself and other companies and individuals, and say, hey, guess what? Sorry, we're not lending any money anymore. So when the bank that's financing all my clients to do my program is not lending them money anymore, guess what? There was a 12 to 18 month period of time when virtually zero revenue was coming in. All right, try living that life for a while in business. Not easy. And again, could he easily caved and said, that's it, what am I going to do? But no, it's you get up, you persist, you drive forward every day, you determination, and you overcome eventually, which is eventually what I did, and revamped the entire program and got it booming as usual shortly after that. But again, doesn't mean it wasn't challenging during the time. Same thing what happens with Sandy hit. And here in New Jersey, for those of you in the Superstorm Sandy, for those of you that are watching us in other parts of the country, probably remember back then, that was a gigantic hit on dentists and practitioners in the state of New Jersey. I had practices that flooded. I had guys that, haven't recovered fully there, and I had people that, okay, their whole office flooded, they picked up, they rented out 6 chairs in a different location, and they went out as business as usual until they got the office back up and running again. You overcome these challenges depending upon, your mental toughness. Persistence really comes from mental toughness. A lot of us have to work on that. Become more mentally tough to overcome what what adversity we get. And it's amazing, some of the littlest stuff, are we really going to let things like changes in insurance? I mean, we know insurance is crap and it doesn't get any better. We know that, people don't want to pay money for dentistry. That happens. It's ongoingly. It's a constant battle. Staff challenges. Staff sometimes turn. This another one comes up from time to time. Staff turns on you. and they come after you for various reasons, looking to get money and be unethical towards you because something they did, and for business practices or whatever else, and they want to take it out on you and try to cash in on you. This kind of stuff can get you down and beat you down. And then are you going to get up and persist and overcome this, or are you going to let it get the best of you? And that's what you really have to ask yourself every day. This coaching of having someone to talk to about this kind of stuff, the worst thing to do is, I guess, to go into your head about this kind of stuff, and really go into agreement with it. That's the problem. See, the world and around you wants to agree with the challenges and the barriers that come up, and say, you know what, this is what everybody else is going through, and this is what a lot of doctors do. Well, everybody else is struggling, everybody else is having a horrible time of it, so should I don't feel so bad. Why would you accept this? Why compromise in practice and in life for less of what you have? You don't need to do this. You need to persist and overcome, and not compromise where you are in practice, because that's the route to slow death in practice. Compromising, your practice for settling for less, and it's amazing how much we do this. And and everybody tells you this is the way it is. Your bookkeeper tells you, your accountant tells you, and pretty soon you start buying into the damn thing. When everybody's talking about it and your colleagues are talking about it, well, look how they're doing. If they're struggling, why is it better to be joining the struggling club, over there, or the rest of society, or do you want to rise above that and be better? Because I can tell you, for every example you give me of someone that's struggling and having a hard time and not succeeding and not overcoming, I can give you a ton of examples of people that are overcoming and succeeding. And well, how are they doing it? How are they making it over there? And look at that quote I just read you. You talk about, I'm actually much more talented than this doctor. I wish talent was all that mattered. I know lots of talented doctors when I meet them that are struggling. It's not talent enough, all right? Genius, I know a lot of genius doctors that are just unbelievably smart people. Not enough. And then, the other one was education. We're all very educated people. Lots of degrees after our names, all right? Again, education, not enough. It takes these intangibles to overcome and win this game. And that's why you see doctors. How does this young guy down the street being so successful? His dentistry's not, or her dentistry's not that great. She doesn't do it as good as you do in many ways, or didn't go to as good a school as you did, and didn't have the best education as you did, and all those things. How are they doing it better than me? How are they succeeding? Well, maybe because their determination, their persistence is higher than yours. And they're spending time, on business and putting their attention on business to compensate for maybe where they may be deficient in other areas. You see, it's all how you look at it and how you approach it every single day. So again, it's not just what you've learned in the books that's going to get you there, or all the training. It's amazing, again, how much training, dentists go through on a clinical level, and yourself included, to get the skill set you do. All right, and I wish that was enough. But it's not enough. It takes, again, these intangible things, these traits of being, to look at these things, work on these things. You work on these things through coaching. Like, you have a realization of, oh, wow, the light bulb just went off. You're making a lot of sense there. Great. If the light bulb just went off and me talking about this kind of stuff, what are you going to do about it now? Are you going to really start looking at how you are going about your day and your life every single day in practice? That's what you should be doing right now. Not like, well, that was a great episode, very inspiring, very motivating, a nice distinction there. Yeah, but the distinctions, it's meant to be applied. Do something with it now that you got it, and go for it. Take this, inspiration and get in action about that. And again, overcome what's out there, because you can. And if you can't do it on your own, that's what coaching's about. Getting someone in your life that's going to support you to overcome and be persistent. Not get people around you that are just going to, just agree with it, doc, go along with that's just the way it is. You got to accept that. You got to compromise. You got to settle, right? There's no reason to settle in practice for less. There's no reason for settling for other than the optimal scenario in your practice in life. Why do that, right? The world is full of, again, mediocrity. Be better than that. Overcome that. Persistence is omnipotent, like I said. All right. So again, hope this was beneficial. You got some, inspiration about this. You're going to do something about it. And if you're enjoying these, again, please spread the word. Please share them. I'm glad you are. And if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about that have interest to you, message me, post on the thread. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to try to incorporate them into this series. All right? So I'll be back with episode 42 before you know it. Thanks for watching.